After years of living in my Jeep, chasing seasons across the states, I've learned to adapt and survive through every climate shift. It's not just about endurance, it's a core part of being a nomad, learning to flow with nature rather than resist it. Got to my next destination, and weather changes constantly. So as I'm pulling towards getting close to the next destination, we start seeing snow clouds, and then, but positive thing is it's only supposed to be snowing and like this for today and tomorrow. And then the third day that we're here, it's going to be sunny and in the 60s. So we are going to be snowed in tonight, most definitely, because the snow is already filling up on the ground. And it's supposed to be like this all night long. So we're definitely going to be snowed in tonight because it was a long trek up that road. And we're in the mountains right now, and then we'll probably be snowed in tomorrow too, but by the third day it'll start clearing up and it'll be fine. So yay. Well, I knew that I was going to have to deal with cold weather for like probably the next 3 weeks-ish. But I didn't expect to have to deal with snow. And with that being said, I left all my winter clothes at my homestead. I did bring hoodies, sweatshirts, and a jacket, and some sweatpants, but I left my snow boots and all my long sleeve shirts and stuff like that. Because, did I mention I didn't think we were going to deal with snow? Little one, what do you think about this snow? I haven't even taken her out in the snow yet. She's probably going to be like, what is going on? Because she doesn't even like rain. But, look at this. Look. It is coming down. And we do get a break in snow in a couple hours, but all night long it's supposed to be snowing. So thank God I have a heating blanket, because I'm more prepared for the cold weather and harsh conditions in cold than I am in the heat and the hot temperatures. So this should be interesting, to say the least. And thank God one of the people I'm traveling with has a big RV, and if worse comes to worse, because he has 4 beds in his RV, and we have another person with us, Donna, and she's in her van, and we've already discussed that if it gets too cold or too bad for us, then we're just gonna have to go take over his extra beds in his RV. But positive thing is we're going to be cooking in his RV tonight for dinner. I kind of hope we do get snowed in, because I love looking at snow. Like, I love seeing snow. And to be quite honest with you, if I didn't have my friend here with the RV, I wouldn't be camping in this right now, because I don't know how cold little one back there can handle it with all her new health issues. Okay. Well, looks like the snow has stopped. I was hoping to get a little bit more snow, like at least a couple of inches on the ground. But I think we got like a half an inch on the ground. So, for the ones that are just finding this video, don't know who I am, just a real quick thing. I have been living in this Jeep for a few years now, traveling around the states, exploring nature, living in the middle of nature and everything in this Jeep. And yes, on the inside. But I'm not going to get into all that, so I have a whole playlist section on how I live in my Jeep. You can go look at that playlist and you can understand things a little bit more better. So for right now, though, I do want to discuss on, since I couldn't do a whole snow video, I know some people wonder about, well, you live in a car. What do you do like for the cold weather or the hot weather, or, you know, you don't have like an air conditioner or a heater, because I'm not going to have my Jeep turned on 24/7. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys now, is how I adapt to all these different climate changes and how I adapt to the different weather everywhere that I go, and how I'm able to survive living in my Jeep doing it. So one of the most important things, and actually is probably the most important thing when you want to be a traveler, full-time traveler, is the tires. That's probably one of the first things that you should upgrade on your vehicle and be concerned with the most, is the tires. Because, well, as you see, we just had snow. And then you got the dirt roads. And then sometimes there might be icy roads. So my suggestion is go with all-terrain tires. All-terrain tires, because that word right there says it all. All-terrain. So meaning the tires are good for every single kind of terrain that's out there. That's important. And for me, I went with the BF Goodwrench KO2s. And this is my second Jeep. And between both of my Jeeps, I've gone through 3 different brands of tires. One was a mud terrain tire because of rock crawling and stuff that I did with the old Jeep. And well, mud terrain tires are not good for highway and interstate and traveling long distance on pavement. So mud terrain is good for the off-roading and rock crawling and all the fun stuff, but not for traveling far distance. And then I had the Nitto Ridge grapplers, which were all terrains. And I'm going to say I love those tires. I did love those tires. But a lot of people talked about these KO2s. So I decided to change it up and try the KO2s out. And I had the KO2s on my old Jeep also. And I have to say they're the best tires that I have experienced on my Jeeps. So I'm always going to stay with the KO2s. But for you, as long as you get an all-terrain tire, that's the most important thing. All right, let's see how I survive all these different types of weather on the inside of my home. Okay, let's talk about the winter time. How do I stay warm, or how do I live in this Jeep during cold temperatures? And I just want to let you guys know, I have camped and slept in this Jeep in some really cold temperatures. I have been up on a mountain in Colorado, stuck in a snowstorm, couldn't get off the mountain. Temperatures were in the teens. But I survived and still managed to sleep in my Jeep comfortably. So I do have this 0-degree sleeping bag right here. And inside the sleeping bag, I have a heating blanket. And the heating blanket, I'll be quite honest with you, you plug the heating blanket in, zip up your sleeping bag with you in it, and let it stay on for about 30-40 minutes, it's going to heat up the inside of that sleeping bag. And then you can unplug it and you're good for the rest of the night. Literally. And then in the mornings, I'm not going to lie, I do get up and I'll turn the Jeep on and turn the heater on in the Jeep in the mornings. I mean, that's the hardest time for me, is the mornings. I feel like it's the coldest time for me. And then I'll turn the heating blanket back on also. The heating blanket, now they do make heating blankets that had the 12-volt plug, which is, you know, for your cigarette lighter. If you're going to be in the car or a vehicle, I highly recommend that you get the 12-volt sleeping bags because they draw lesser power than a regular plug on a heating blanket. And it's all about power and conserving your power when you're living in a vehicle. And I do have 2 jackeries. My big jackery is for my fridge, but my smaller jackery is for my heating blanket and charging other things. And then some people, I do want to discuss this right here because I've met a lot of people that do this and I just find it not to be a very safe option. Propane heaters. No. Those Mr. Buddies or any other propane heater, when you're in a car, sleeping in a car, it is such a small, confined space. I don't care if you crack these windows because I do sleep with my windows cracked, but it is not safe to have a propane heater inside of your vehicle. I mean, yes, a lot of the propane heaters, if you knock them over, they'll turn off. They have that cutoff thing, you know, if you knock it over and stuff, but can you really trust that? And then, even with your windows cracked, because it's such a tiny confined space, you're breathing in the fumes of the propane. And that is not good to breathe in the fumes of the propane. So, what did we learn here today? Say no to propane heaters in your vehicles. Then I have this extra blanket right here, and it is a lightweight blanket. So during the summertime or warmer days, I just sleep on top of my sleeping bag here, which gives me extra cushion. And I just use the light blanket here. And then we're going to move the pillow, and then you guys can see. I should unzip this, but it's going to be a little hard to unzip. But there's my heating blanket that's inside of my Jeep. And as you guys can see, this is the cord that runs over there to that jackery right there. And then, yeah, and that's that. The hardest time of the year, the worst season for me, living in the Jeep and traveling around, is definitely the summertime. Summertime is the worst because the heat is just unbearable. Now, obviously, when summertime comes around, I suggest that you go find higher elevations. Go find higher elevations that are shaded, and, you know, it'll be a lot cooler in the higher elevation places. That's why a lot of people that are full-time travelers, they'll go up north and like the Pacific Northwest or anything like that. But that would be the ideal thing, is to find the higher elevations. But sometimes those higher elevations, it's still hot up there. So, like I said, I have the lightweight blanket, and then I have this fan, this portable fan. And this fan, it also has a light on it, which I never use. I just use it for the fan. But this fan has a USB charger on it. So you charge it with a USB cord. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think I've ever used this on high. So there's 3 settings. There's low, medium, and high. And I've always used it on low and medium. And using it even on medium, it's charged the whole entire night while you're sleeping. So, and still has charge on it in the morning. This is definitely a game changer. And then I always say that, like I said earlier, I do sleep with the windows cracked. And I have these window coverings that I will put over the window because A, it keeps the bugs out and spiders that I don't like. I'm deathly afraid of spiders. No spiders. But it keeps all the bugs out. And then you can have ventilation and the air flowing in. And at nighttime, obviously, it's a lot cooler at night. So you find window coverings. You can go to Amazon, just put in your make and model of your vehicle and look for window coverings. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, you have to really adapt and do a lot of planning, a lot of research. I use multiple weather apps because you can't trust just one weather app. So I use probably about 3 different weather apps, looking up the weather, where I'm going. I watch the weather consistently every single day. I watch the weather when I'm out here on these roads and out here in nature. And I check the weather probably about twice a day because Mother Nature is bipolar and she changes all the time. So it's best to always watch the weather. And don't just look up the weather like one day and say, okay, well, I'm going to be there in like a week, so it looks good. Well, before you get to your next location in a week, you need to check the weather again the day before, days before. You get the drift. So yeah, it's I've been doing this for about 4 years, almost 4 years, and I'm still here. I'm still living in the Jeep comfortably, and hope this helps some of you guys that might be considering this lifestyle also. Do your research. Well, it looks like we got some more snow, but I don't think this time it's going to stick to the ground. So, but meaning I don't think we're getting snowed in. So, since it is snowing right now, and I don't feel like going out and playing in the snow, and little one, she's good on that too. I'm trying to get some work done. So, we're over here getting work done. Because, well, I don't want to just lay around and be lazy laying in the bed. Because I feel like I waste a whole day away. So, we'll just sit here in the driver's seat and get work done. Yeah. It'd be nice if we could get snowed in. It would be nice. But, little one's getting on my lap. Sorry. There she is. She's got to be as close to Mama as possible. As close to Mama. And while I can't predict this weather right here, because I really can't, I honestly could go put my awning out that I have on the outside the Jeep and just sit underneath the awning because it's pretty big. But I don't know how much snow is going to dump in this area. And I cannot have my awning out if it's going to be a bunch of snow. So I'm just going to have to figure it out. And right now inside the Jeep it is not cold, so that's good. But if it gets really, really cold, then I'll just turn the Jeep on for a minute, turn the heater on, and it warms up the Jeep for a while.